Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, January 15. The late Deputy CEO of the Jamaica Information Service, veteran journalist Ian Bowen, was yesterday hailed as a true patriot who contributed much to national development. The accolades flowed in the Thanksgiving service for Bowen, who died in December after a brief illness. Hundreds of mourners, including the Governor-General, present and former Prime Ministers, the Leader of the Opposition, parliamentarians and media colleagues, lent their support to his family at the service, which was held at the National Indoor Sports Centre. They had high praises for Mr. Bowen's commitment to the moral fortitude of the nation and the social well-being of its people, capped by his intellectual rigor.
We have all, in one way or another, benefited from his contribution or from the contribution of this scholarly and dignified gentleman whose life was built on the foundations of personal faith and Christian witness.
You know, Ian rose to such a level of esteem and regard. Clearly, he was in a class by himself. But the Union of Prime Ministers would also agree that Ian is the only civil servant, public servant, that we know that could criticize the government and get away with it. But that is speaking truth to power. And when you do it with respect, honor, and dignity, no one can question the truth.
Tributes also flowed from members of the clergy, close friends, and his family, including his daughter Kellyanne, who eulogized her father as a devout Christian who understood the importance of the undefeatable mind.
He was always concerned about the social deficit rather than the economic deficit, as he understood the importance of the effect of purpose on profit. He was a holistic being.
In a tribute read by Faye Ellington, his widow Margaret also recounted that Ian Bowen's faith meant everything to him, even as he made family a priority. And among the many musical acts who honored the writer and TV show host, remembered for his own love of singing at social events, was the JIS Chorale, who led the way for an emotional tribute from the agency's Chief Executive Officer, Donna Marie Rowe.
To our staff, he was an advocate, extraordinary character, and debonair. Mr. B endeared himself to all staff through his generosity and presence. Ours was an enviable working relationship, characterized by grace and wit.
Ian Bowen was interred at Dovecot Memorial Park and Crematorium in St. Catherine. In other news, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, has asked the country's two major telecommunications operators to provide a readiness status report on the country's national alert system. The request is in response to concerns raised following the tsunami scare that gripped the nation last week. People have questioned the apparent lack of timely notifications associated with the tsunami warnings issued by the Met Office and OPM after a 7.6 magnitude earthquake between the coast of Honduras and the Cayman Islands triggered the tsunami threat for Jamaica. Minister Wheatley has also invited both telecommunications operators to a meeting at his ministry to discuss how the readiness of the telecommunications sector in the event of events such as earthquakes and tsunamis can be brought to a level in keeping with global best practices. That, he says, will involve how to optimize the functions and synchronization of all telecommunication systems as it relates to their operation within the wider national alert system. Meanwhile, the island is now better able to coordinate disaster recovery efforts. This as 80 public sector disaster risk management professionals have been trained in post-disaster needs assessment. The training was coordinated by the Planning Institute of Jamaica with grant funding from the Caribbean Development Bank. The risk management professionals will help the state to accurately assess the economic, social and environmental impact of disasters and inform recovery and reconstruction efforts. The Ministry of Health is looking to further strengthen Jamaica's vector control mechanism this year through a pilot sterile mosquito project. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave details as he launched the Mosquito Research and Control Unit, MRCU, in Secretary at the University of the West Indies, Mona.
Under the Mosquito Control Research Unit, the Government of Jamaica, through the Ministry of Health, will be participating in the IAEA regional project entitled Strengthening Regional Capacity in Latin America and the Caribbean for Integrated Vector Management Approaches for a Sterile Insect Technique component to control Aedes aegypti mosquito as vectors.
A number of Caribbean countries will be participating in the Vector Control Program pilot, which will be a part of the ministry's work agenda for 2018. A team of Chinese coaches have arrived in Jamaica for a 30-day training program with coaches and athletes in 7 sporting disciplines. The Chinese coaches will provide technical assistance in the areas of swimming, synchronized swimming, badminton, gymnastics, volleyball, football, and basketball.
The program is such that it will involve training of both elite athletes as well as those at the junior athletes at the school level. It will also involve training of trainers, that is that there will be coaches clinic. All of these coaches are here. They are very experienced coaches.
After the 30 days, she says more than 130 athletes from the 7 disciplines will go to China to continue the process for up to 60 days. The program is part of the first phase of a 3-year technical cooperation project on sport between Jamaica and the People's Republic of China, an agreement for which was signed in October last year. And finally, Arakabessa Primary School is slated to get a new school bus under the Government of Japan's Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Project. The National Education Trust will oversee the procurement process for the bus, which is being bought at a cost of $8.4 million. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says this latest support from the Japanese government is indicative of that country's valuable partnership in the improvement of Jamaica's education system.
The Japanese grassroots program is indicative of your own understanding of the value of education in improving the life chances of people, improving the economy of nations.
The Japanese Embassy in Jamaica and the National Education Trust forged a partnership in 2015 to collaborate on education development projects aimed at meeting the needs of primary schools island-wide. The initiative is a part of a holistic safety and security initiative spearheaded by the Ministry of Education to transform schools and their surroundings into safe zones. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.